Even before we broke ground for Terminal 4 in Jewel, we already envisaged building Terminal 5.
A lot of decisions were late, were delayed. The Aerotrain is a good example. I have to answer to the public, but the Aerotrain is not a decision.
In the year 1981, something interesting happened. Two big airports opened in Southeast Asia. They were only about 300 kilometers apart. One was in Singapore, the other was in Malaysia. Today, one of them is called the best airport in the world. It wins awards almost every year. People love it. The other airport is often called empty, confusing, or soulless. Many travelers don't enjoy using it. But why? How can two airports, built around the same time, turn out so different? This is not just a story about planes or buildings. It's about vision, leadership, and one shocking truth that has been hidden for a long time. Most people think the Singapore airport wins because it is clean or luxurious. But that's not the whole reason. The real reason goes much deeper. It's something that Kuala Lumpur's airport never had, and maybe never will. Keep watching. You're about to learn a story of planning, politics, and a choice that changed the future of air travel in Asia. Let's go back in time. Singapore's Changi Airport opened in the early 1980s. Malaysia's KLIA, Kuala Lumpur International Airport, opened in the late 1990s. Both airports were big and modern when they launched. Both countries hoped their airports would become the best in the region. But something strange happened over time. Singapore is a very small country. It has no big beaches, no mountains, and no special nature spots. It doesn't have many natural tourism advantages. Malaysia, on the other hand, is full of culture, has beautiful islands, and sits in a great location for air travel. It has a lot more land and resources than Singapore. Yet today, Changi Airport is one of the best airports in the world. People fly through it just to enjoy the experience. KLIA, sadly, often has half-empty terminals. Travelers complain that it feels quiet, confusing, or even lifeless. So, what happened? How did tiny Singapore turn its airport into a global superstar while KLIA struggled? What choices did Singapore make that Malaysia did not? Back in 1981, Singapore's leader, Lee Kuan Yew, said something very important. He said, "Our airport will show who we are as a country." That idea shaped everything. From the very beginning, Changi Airport was not just a place for planes to land. It was part of a big dream. It would show the world that Singapore is clean, smart, and ready for the future. Every small detail, from signs to restrooms to gardens, was part of that national plan. But in Malaysia, things were different. KLIA was built very quickly, right before the 1998 Commonwealth Games. It had to be done fast to be ready for the event. Because of that, there was less time to plan the airport fully. Trains and terminals didn't connect well. Some routes were hard to find. People often got confused moving from one area to another. So while Changi kept improving each year, KLIA had to fix problems from the start. That's the big difference. One was built with long-term vision. The other was rushed for a short-term goal. But there's still one big question left. How does Changi stay number one every single year? When people visit Changi Airport in Singapore, they don't just go to catch a flight. They go for the experience. At Jewel Changi, there's a huge indoor waterfall, a forest with real trees, a hotel, and hundreds of shops and places to eat. It feels more like a theme park or a vacation spot than an airport. Some travelers even arrive early just to explore it. Others come even when they're not flying, just to enjoy the place. That's the big idea. Singapore treats Changi Airport like a destination, not just a stop on the way. Now look at KLIA in Malaysia. There, many shops have closed down. Some terminals are quiet and empty. Even local travelers say there are places where it feels lifeless. So how does tiny Singapore make something so amazing, while bigger Malaysia struggles? The answer is, Singapore sees air travel as a full experience, not just transport. They invest in beauty, fun, and comfort, even inside the airport. KLIA still focuses mostly on the basics, like flights and gates. And that's why one is always full of life, and the other often feels empty. But there's still more to this story. Let's talk about how these airports are run. Changi Airport Group in Singapore works like a tech company. They focus on being smart, fast, and creative. They make money from the Jewel Mall, shops, food, and airlines. But here's the smart part. They put that money back into making the airport even better. That's why Changi keeps getting new ideas, fun things, and clean spaces. Now let's look at KLIA in Malaysia. It's managed by a company called Malaysia Airports Holdings. But over the years, they had many changes in leadership and even money problems. There were also scandals that made people lose trust. Because of all that, KLIA started to fall behind. In 2019, travelers voted KLIA as one of the worst big airports in Asia for service and comfort. It didn't feel smooth, and many people said it was confusing. So even though Malaysia has the space and money, the management problems made things worse. Changi shows what happens when you plan, build, and improve wisely. But there's something even more important than money. What about safety and technology? Let's keep going. Let's look at the tech inside these airports, things you may not even notice. At Changi Airport in Singapore, the baggage system is super smart. It uses AI to track your bags so they don't get lost. You can go through immigration using just your face. No need to show your passport every time. There are also self-service gates that make things move faster. In 2023, Changi launched something called Changiverse. It's a virtual world where you can explore the airport from your phone or computer, just like a video game. Now let's go to KLIA in Malaysia. KLIA is still trying to fix lost bag problems, and some gates don't work well. They started using more machines, but many systems still feel slow or old. Even Malaysia Airlines once said the airport was making passengers feel worried and unhappy. So, what's the big deal? When people land at Changi, they feel relaxed and welcome. At KLIA, some feel stressed or confused. Technology can make a big difference, even if you don't see it. But there's one last thing. How do real travelers feel when they walk through these two airports? Let's hear what real travelers say. People who visit Changi Airport often say, "It feels like a place I want to stay in. It's beautiful and doesn't feel stressful at all. Everything runs smoothly, like clockwork." Now let's look at what people say about KLIA. "I got lost inside. It felt empty and confusing. The shuttle made me miss my flight." These are not just small problems. When travelers feel confused, lost, or rushed, they lose trust in the airport. At Changi, the moment you arrive, signs are clear. People help you fast. You can even relax in gardens or by a waterfall while waiting for your flight. But at KLIA, many people say the signs are hard to follow. Some shops are closed, and they feel like the airport is half asleep. And here's something important. Your first impression of a country often starts at the airport. If the airport feels safe, clean, and well-run, you feel good about the whole trip. If it feels messy or stressful, it can ruin the mood before your vacation even starts. So maybe this isn't just about airports. Maybe it's about something deeper, like how two countries plan, care, and think about their future. And that brings us to the biggest reason behind it all, how each country runs its airports. In Singapore, the airport is part of a big national plan. It connects to tourism, transportation, and even how the country shows itself to the world. The leaders in Singapore say, if we want people to trust us, our airport must be the best. Now let's look at Malaysia. Over the years, KLIA has had many problems. Changes in politics led to delays, bad deals, and not enough money going into the airport. One example is KLIA 2, the terminal for low-cost flights. It opened late, went over budget, and people called it a mess. Even today, many parts of KLIA feel unfinished or not well planned. Meanwhile, in Singapore, they're building a whole new terminal, Changi Terminal 5. It will be able to handle 50 million more passengers by the year 2030. So why is one country always ahead while the other keeps falling behind? Here's the big truth. It's not just about buildings, money, or even technology. The real reason Changi is so far ahead is not something you can see. It's something hidden, but very powerful. Something KLIA never had. Are you ready to hear the real secret behind Changi's success? Now here comes the truth. Changi Airport was never built just for flying. It was built for people. Yes, the planes land and take off. But what really matters at Changi is how you feel when you walk in. Every part of the airport was made with human feelings in mind. They thought about what makes people calm, happy, and relaxed. You see green plants, art, and even quiet areas to rest. The design is open, clean, and never too crowded. They even studied things like what smells make people feel safe, what colors reduce stress, where should signs go so you don't get lost. It's almost like Changi was built like a big science lab for comfort. Now think about KLIA. It was built more for planes and cargo than for people. That's why it can feel empty, cold, or even confusing. The big difference is in the mindset. Changi equals people first. KLIA equals planes first. And that one choice changed everything. Now you know why people say Changi feels like a destination, not just a place to catch a flight. You felt it all along. You just didn't know the reason. Until now. Airports are not just about runways and airplanes. They show how a country thinks and how much it cares about people. Changi Airport in Singapore shows what happens when leaders plan for the next 50 years. Every part of it was built with a clear vision and care for travelers. KLIA in Malaysia shows what happens when you build in a hurry, just to meet a deadline. It had big dreams, but the planning wasn't strong enough. So what do we learn from this? That the real winner is not the airport. It's you, the traveler. When airports are built with thought, kindness, and smart ideas, your trip becomes easy, fun, and safe. Now we want to hear your story. Have you been to both airports? Which one did you like more? Why? Write your answer in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because the next time you go to an airport, you'll start to see things differently. You'll notice what makes it special or what's missing. and you'll know that a good airport isn't just about flights, it's about people.